Joining us right now to talk more, though, about the potential auto worker strike, including what's at stake for employees, the companies, and the broader economy, is Seth Harris. He is former acting U.S. Secretary of Labor. Also, Tyler Goodspeed, who's former acting chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors. And Seth, let's start with you. You say this strike is looking much more likely. Obviously, we're getting closer to the deadline. There's not some sort of agreement that many people can see them getting to between now and then. What happens to the economy if there is a strike at the big three?
I think it's not going to have very much effect on the economy as a whole. You know, a 10-day strike is estimated by a consulting firm that was hired by the companies to cost a little bit over $5 billion. We have a $25 trillion economy, so it's just going to be a drop in the bucket. It will have a more direct effect on the auto communities where these workers live. If they go out on strike and the amount of money they have in their pockets goes down, they'll be able to buy less. They may be a little late on the rent or on the mortgage. It depends on how long the strike lasts. If it's a protracted strike, then there could be consequences for the auto companies' supply chains. But I think that it's more likely that we'll see what Phil was describing, which is targeted strikes at specific plants. We're not going to see all of the workers, all 150,000 workers go out all at the same time. It's going to be more strategic than that. So I think the economic impact will be quite limited.
Seth, Tyler, how about you? Seth was just pointing out that survey, that study that showed that it was maybe $5.6 billion or something for a 10-day strike. I think that same survey also suggested that Michigan could get pushed into a recession by some of these things. You're looking back at history, and you've seen what it's done in the past.
Yes, I'm reminded that there was a relatively short, relatively mild recession in 1969, 1970 when over 160,000 General Motors employees walked out on strike. And at the time, General Motors was 2.3% of the U.S. economy, or at least their revenue was, and they counted over 39,000 suppliers. I think this is quite different from 1969 to 70. As Seth said, this is probably going to be a modest GDP impact, especially if the strikes are targeted at a few factories. However, with an integrated supply chain, I think we could see some impact on the flow of new autos, which is going to have an impact on the price of both new autos and used autos, as people have to substitute away from new autos to used cars. And in recent months, used cars and new cars have been a source of disinflation in the U.S., and I think with this strike ongoing for some protracted period of time, that sign could flip and they could become net inflationary again.
You know, Seth addressed that. If you look at the inflationary backdrop, not just with car prices and some of the issues that have gone on, labor contracts with 40% increases that not only affect the UAW there, but what happens at the suppliers down the chain. Is that something that means that we will start losing the inflationary battle that has felt like we've started to get it under control recently?
No, I don't think so. This is one of the big criticisms. Whenever workers demand a raise, we talk about how inflationary it is. But when there are stock buybacks and big profit payouts, we don't talk about the inflation impact there. Labor costs are about 5% of the big three's total costs. That's not going to drive if the UAW were able to get a 40% pay increase, and I think it's going to be something short of that, that's not going to drive a significant increase in the price of new cars. If we were to have a protracted strike and there were to be a significant reduction in the number of cars that the big three automakers are able to produce months from now, I think it's possible that that could have an effect on the price of new cars. But again, if the UAW is engaged in targeted strikes, if it doesn't shut down production entirely, if the workers are still getting paid in a lot of these facilities, I think the economic impact is going to be pretty limited.